What was the man behind the wheel heading north on Interstate 95 thinking every morning for 45 minutes? He had become a ghost in the past 8 months, his legacy tarnished by an embarrassing season. He was lampooned for the first time in an otherwise special career. He had tumbled from the mountaintop with such force that he was nearly unrecognizable. Was this really Darrelle Revis? Is this how it was going to end for the greatest cornerback of this generation? Maybe Revis replayed the images of his nightmarish final season with the Jets in his mind during his drive from Hollywood, FLA, to the new place that would help rebuild him. Maybe he never thought about those painful moments at all when he walked into the XPE Sports Extreme Performance Enhancement facility in Boca Raton each day to recapture what had been lost. Or maybe every bit of that nightmarish year served as fuel to remake the prideful player accustomed to dominating the NFL landscape. He heard all the talk, said 14-year veteran wide receiver Anquan Boldin, who played an instrumental role in Revis' comeback that kicks off Sunday when the Chiefs faced the Jets. He heard the chatter from people saying that he didn't still have it and that he wasn't one of the top corners in the game anymore. Anytime you hear reports like that, whether you say it out loud or not, that's something that you want to dispel. Revis ventured into the unknown with Boldin and XPE Sports founder-trainer Tony Villani to remake his body and mind through innovative training techniques. He tried new methods to jilt his 32-year-old body until the Chiefs signed him last week. He worked with a passion that he had lost somewhere along the way. He worked in virtual anonymity 5 or 6 days a week with a hell-bent 43-year-old trainer and 3-time Pro Bowl receiver, who wanted to breathe life into the man with a mythical island. "You see the fire," said Boldin, who has trained at XPE Sports for years. "You see it in the way he trains. Guys who are content definitely don't train as hard as he was training. They're definitely not there every day putting in the time, sometimes twice a day. When a guy's content, he'll find every excuse not to work as hard. He'll find every excuse to take time off." Darrelle was there pretty much every day working and competing his butt off. Revis was referred to Villani by former Jets teammate Marcus Gilchrist and others before working with him for the first time in March. "I could see he wasn't himself," Villani said. "Bill Kistrunap, the first order of business was obvious: lose weight. A lot of it." Revis spent 6 rigorous weeks working with NFL players at XP. When he returned to the facility in July to get specialized work with Boldin and Villani, the trainer called those players, who had gone to their respective team camps, to deliver a simple message: "You guys won't recognize Revis now. He was so open to train differently." Villani had to break the news to the 4-time All-Pro: the poor guy was doing the drills all wrong. Revis' work ethic has been the backbone of a career that will ultimately lead to Canton, but the trainer didn't want to BS him. He was screwing up. Before long, Villani learned something about his newest pupil that would prove invaluable over the next 8 months. "He was so open to train differently," Villani said. "Everyone knows how much money he has in his bank account. Everyone knows that he's making money from the Jets this year. Everyone knows he's had a great career, but I'm telling you that he trained as hard as anyone." Revis, who worked out in Arizona every off-season for the past decade, was receptive to fresh ideas to reignite his career. He told Boldin that about 15 unwanted pounds hindered him last season. He couldn't move like he wanted. He couldn't play like he was used to. He couldn't be Darrelle Revis. So, he changed his tea and workouts to help shed the weight in the twilight of his career. "The older you get, the lighter you need to be," said Rex Ryan, who coached Revis at the peak of his powers. "You got to take some weight off. Because quite honestly, you can't recover the way you used to." I think that was the big thing. Put a 10-pound weight vest on and go out and run. You don't have that speed. The whole key for Revis is what kind of shape he's in, because I think he'll play his ass off. It took time for Villani to develop a customized plan for Revis because he had never encountered a defensive back with such long strides. The biggest challenges working with DBs typically were maintaining quickness, while lengthening stride length. Revis, however, already covered so much ground, even though he didn't look fast to the naked eye. "It's sneaky," Villani said. "He's like a horse gliding. You almost have to have someone next to him to realize, wow, he's moving pretty fast." Recapturing deep speed was a point of emphasis given Revis' struggles with receivers 20-plus yards downfield last year. Although Revis' peak deep speed obviously won't be the same now as 5 years ago, Villani's techniques were designed to make him as fast as possible at this stage of career. Deep speed is all a formula of stride length and stride frequency, Villani said. Normally, DBs are behind receivers on stride length, but he was ahead of all our receivers. It was amazing. Once we figured that out, we started working on a lot of frequency drills, getting his feet down quicker so he could maintain that speed a lot better. Villani's science of speed centers on a gear system. We train in gears like a car, the trainer said. He definitely has an acceleration gear and a top speed gear that's better than it was last year. Villani and Bolden were driven by the same question every day: how do we get Revis better? A few creative training wrinkles made all the difference. Fight Club. Even the great ones sometimes train without real direction. New York Daily News. Villani had seen it so many times in the past couple decades, players running around without a purpose. He didn't want Revis to be paralyzed by stale methods. So, he took a chance by asking Revis to place his faith in the unknown. He wanted to make a significant change in the veterans' training rather than train solely as a cornerback. He wanted Revis to work like the guys that he had been paid to stop all these years. He wanted him to run routes like a wide receiver. It was a smart and innovative way to push the 7-time Pro Bowler. Revis started running comeback routes and post-corner routes as if he were A.J. Green, Julio Jones or Antonio Brown. It was a proactive approach designed to give Revis a picture of each play. If you're in trail position on the receiver, you have to run the route better than the receiver to get your hands on the ball, Villani said. If you run it like a DB, you're playing catch-up. That's what DBs are used to, reacting and playing catch-up. Sometimes I wanted him to do the same exact pattern like a receiver. Then he'd run the drill again like a DB. Bolden, one of the most physical receivers in the past 15 years, offered sage advice to help Revis better understand the psychology of a wideout. He gave the cornerback tells on various routes, and broke down how pass catchers of different sizes and strength liked to leverage their boss on various patterns on different spots on the field. I'm not sure if he's ever worked out with a receiver who's been able to give him different tips and different ways that you can tell what's coming, Bolden said. Those are the types of things that we discussed that he felt would be helpful. I'm pretty sure he'll implement them in his game. Villani also enlisted professional MMA trainers to help sharpen Revis' repertoire at the line of scrimmage. Revis didn't have to float like a butterfly or sting like a bee, but the cross-training was beneficial. We didn't need to teach this guy how to fight, Villani said. We needed to teach him how to left jab with his left foot forward and right jab with his right foot forward. Make him ambidextrous at the line. When you really study UFC fighters and boxers, the footwork that they use is so similar to the footwork Revis will use on the line of scrimmage. When he goes up and jams somebody, he's in a fight. He's going to throw a punch and he's going to keep somebody in front of him. That's like cutting off the ring from someone. He doesn't turn into a DB until that receiver clears his hips. Once the receiver clears his hips and gets out of the fight zone with Revis, then that's when what I do comes in. Bolden knew Revis was on the right path after playing pickup hoops with him during their training sessions. Brett Carlson. Getty Images. One of the telltale signs whether or not your back is getting on the basketball court, Bolden said. It's all reaction on the court. How do you cut? You see exactly how a guy moves, and he was real fluid. Revis came out of hibernation last week looking like a new man. His face was noticeably thinner. He might be sufficiently prepared, but one lingering question remains. I think he'll be special. It's unfair to expect miracles from a guy who hasn't played in an NFL game in 337 days. It would be stunning, however, if Revis didn't play at a productive level barring injury over the final month of the season. He's invested too much time to fall flat on his face again. He's not coming back to embarrass himself, Ryan said. This guy's got a phenomenal reputation. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know. That's debatable. I think he belongs, but you never know how people see it. Whether driven by legacy, pride, embarrassment, love of the game or future earning power, there is no debate that he's put forth a genuine effort to get his 32-year-old body and mind right. So, which Darrelle Revis will we see now? You're going to see a hungry player, Bolden said. Somebody who's out to prove himself. There was a time when number 24 wrecked games with regularity. Throw in his direction at your own risk. He was an unstoppable force that erased the game's best difference makers. I think he'll be special again, Villani said. That's what I'm hoping for. The truth is that nobody knows.